Hello everyone and welcome to the very special review for Logan. Wow. Just wow. Everyone, please welcome one of the greatest comic book films ever made. Logan is the third solo Wolverine film, marking Hugh Jackman's final appearance as the character, also marking Patrick Stewart's final appearance as Professor X. The film is very loosely based on Old Man Logan, renowned comic from Mark Millar. And the film follows sort of a damaged and degenerating Logan who's a lot older and more world-weary, embarking on this road trip with this mysterious girl he finds, known to comic book fans as Laura, or X-23, who is played by Daphne Keane, as well as Professor X. And as they embark on this road trip, hunted by Donald Pierce, played by Boyd Holbrook. Now this film really is the perfect send-off to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It's this perfect sort of culmination of his journey as we've seen him over these 17 years of Hugh Jackman playing the character, and a nice sort of conclusion considering how terrible X-Men Origins Wolverine is and how sort of hit and miss the Wolverine was, but still just seeing his story and progression over those films, as well as the other X-Men films, sort of coming to a close for Wolverine as a character in this film, is really sort of a poignant and significant end, sort of to the fans that have been along with Hugh Jackman over all of these years, and as a nice send-off to his portrayal of Wolverine as someone who actually grew up watching the original X-Men films in the early 2000s. It was really sort of a strong, poignant end to all these years having watched Hugh Jackman play Wolverine. Now the film really does show a very broken and damaged Logan, and this is the most brutal and berserk we have ever seen him. Few people have made note of the berserk moment that we get to see in X2, X United, where Logan is protecting the kids in the X-Mansion from a Stryker's force team. This is basically an entire film of that. You get to see some of the most gruesome and violent scenery in an X-Men film to date. I mean, Deadpool kind of introduced audiences to this sort of R-rated superhero film, but Logan is really the first film to really take advantage fully of what an R-rated comic book film could be, and really uses it to its strengths. This is a mature, dark, violent R-rated comic book film, and really sort of transcends what a comic book film can be. I mean, this is more a western and a drama than it really is a standard comic book film, and much like the vein of The Dark Knight, this is really something that transcends being just a superhero film, and is going to be remembered for being one of the all-time great comic book films ever made. What this really does is gives a staple to Fox for being the studio making R-rated comic book movies. You know, Fox has R-rated comic book movies covered. We've seen their success with Deadpool. Now Logan is sure to be a success, and really a film like this, I mean, everyone makes a point of saying, oh, send everything back to Marvel Studios. If the X-Men were back with Marvel Studios, there is no way they and Disney would release a film like this. We would never get a film like Logan or Deadpool being released by Disney and Marvel Studios. You would never see it happen. This is one of the times where being with a different studio, being with 20th Century Fox really pays off in giving us a much more diverse and more interesting take on characters that we might have gotten if it really had been with Marvel Studios. This is to date probably the most true we've seen Wolverine. Everything that we've wanted to get out of a Wolverine film, we really get here with Logan. It's a really gorgeous film, very reminiscent of Unforgiven and Shane, which Shane is used in the film quite significantly and has quite a fairly deep impact on the film, just thematically and as a story point. But even Forgiven has a lot of influence over this film. James Mangold obviously directed the remake of 3:10 to Yuma, which was quite a fantastic western, modern western, and really you can tell this is a genre that he has a lot of strengths in, and Logan really comes off as a sort of a modern neo sort of western set in the mold of kind of a superhero film, but really just comes across as a really just as a film, a powerful film. It really does transcend what being a comic book movie can be. Obviously, being RRated, there is a smaller budget, but this gives us the chance to really focus on the characters of Logan and Professor X and X-23, and some of the best moments of the film are really when all three of them are just sort of sitting together and talking and having a good time, and really letting us spend time with these characters despite everything that's sort of going on around them and all the hardship they've sort of been through and what they are going through during the film. Those moments really add up, and there's huge payoff. There's a huge payoff for spending time and getting to know these characters, and obviously for people like myself who have watched Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart since the year 2000, you know, we've gotten to know these characters over 17 years. So while people who have seen these films are going to get a great emotional punch with this film for having followed those characters over these years, people who aren't familiar or are just walking into this film without having watched any of the other X-Men films are still going to get a really great grasp and emotional value out of the film, just as they're so strongly built, and really give you a great relationship between the three characters. It's just incredibly well developed and detailed. I mean, of all the characters, X-23 or Laura really steals the show. She is brutal and violent, and really can stand toe to toe with Wolverine, being sort of the face of the brand for X-Men. And I wouldn't be surprised if X-23 does replace Wolverine in future films. This film's core theme really is family and the importance of family and finding yourself, and Logan finding himself. Considering Logan never really has had a family, he's always sort of been a part of this surrogate family with the X-Men. This is really our first chance at sort of seeing him act as a father and a father figure, which adds to a lot of really fun dynamics and really poignant scenes during the film. So the themes are used to great advantage, and they're really strong between all the characters. Now, Donald Pierce is absolutely terrifying. He's a fantastic villain. However, he is not the only villain in the film. There are others, and not all of them are as great or as well developed as he is. All the villains are sort of used in a very grounded sense. It's never over the top and too fantastical like X-Men Apocalypse, which is what lost a lot of people. It was just a bit too crazy and bloated and all over the place and turned into a big end of the world dilemma. Whereas this is a very personal and deep and dark film, and Donald Pierce really gets under Wolverine's skin and hits him personally. So you just get such a much greater emotional punch when things do turn bad for Logan or any of the other characters. Stephen Merchant is also in the film playing the mutant Caliban. He isn't in the film a great deal, just the right amount, and adds quite a lot. I mean, he's not a character we've seen a whole lot of in trailers or anything, but he's used sort of just to the right amount. And Stephen Merchant is an actor who I really enjoy. I think he's hilarious. But no, Stephen Merchant really can add a lot of dramatic value to a film, even though he's known primarily for his comedy, which is really fantastic. Now, this film doesn't have a post-credit scene, but it does have a pre-credit scene, which is just before Logan starts. So it sort of allows Logan to be quite contained within its own story, so you're not left waiting for anything to happen afterwards. It's quite a finite package, and it's sort of the right way to have the film and keep it left as a film rather than having to wait for sequels or anything like that, any sequel tie-ins or teasers. We get to enjoy Logan just for being a film. But the film is really rewatchable. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it a second time and being able to digest it more. It is a brutal film. It is emotional. Some parts are heartbreaking, and you will, if you have been with these characters for 17 years like I have, or even if you're still new to it, I wouldn't be surprised if you tear up just as I did. I got quite emotional watching the film during a number of scenes. This will easily go down as one of the great comic book movies of all time, along with The Dark Knight or Spider-Man 2 or Iron Man. This really is one of the great comic book films, one of the greatest ever made. I mean, it could be considered for Oscar talk, but it's obviously very early in the year, and the Academy obviously doesn't look too kindly on comic book films, so I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if you might get some Oscar buzz for the film, but it would be very unlikely considering how the Academy is positioned on comic book films. So we'll see. But I don't know. If anyone should be nominated, I think probably Hugh Jackman for his performance, which is absolutely phenomenal. But even Patrick Stewart is just incredible as well. I mean, they're really, really fantastic, and they're the best we've ever seen them in all of these films. And obviously looking forward to seeing what Daphne Keane does from here on out. So all in all, go and see this ASAP as soon as you possibly can. I'm going with a 9.5 out of 10 score for Logan. It really is one of the greatest comic book films of all time, and a really beautiful, poignant and strong send-off for Wolverine and Professor X, and just as a sort of love letter to the fans for sticking with these characters for so many years. So anyway guys, thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can comment in the comment section below. Start a conversation. If you have seen the film, or if you plan to see it, let us know. If you have seen it, write what you felt about the film, whether you enjoyed it or not. Otherwise, you can subscribe to the channel. It does help a lot. It'll give you a heads up with when new videos are dropped here on the Mono Report. Make sure you do that. And then also you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at the Mono Report. Thank you everyone, and go out there and enjoy Logan. See you next time.